Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome to this week's video. Just a quick explanation. This is another real-time update. We can't help ourselves. There's exciting stuff happening. So yes, we will make our videos in the Pacific Ocean, Madagascar, South Africa, and the Atlantic Ocean. There's so much to show you guys. But right now it's very relevant. It's hurricane season here in Grenada, or in the Caribbean. And we just had our first threat come through. So in this video, we're going to show you how we prepared Jupiter for the coming hurricane. Where to look for a hurricane hole and what to look for in a hurricane hole. And how we prepare the boat.
Yeah. And remember, like and subscribe. Ding!
So in the Caribbean we have to, and this time of year we have to be careful of hurricanes. Right now we've got a tropical depression halfway across from Africa heading straight to Grenada. 90% chance it will become formation chance, so a tropical cyclone formation. 90%. So starting to think about what we're going to do for protection. It's still 5 days before it is here, but I think we need to act quickly because the hurricane holes, or the place where we're going to go for protection, will fill up really fast, and there's not many places. So I'm going to go in the dinghy right now and go and check this one out. But this is what we're looking for. Mangrove Creek. Just next door to that there's this big protected bay, which will probably be where most people will go because they think, oh, I have to anchor in a protected bay. The trouble is 100 other boats think the same, and it's going to become crowded, and any wind in there, let alone a hurricane, you'd be banging up against each other. So we don't want to go there. We want to go around into this Mangrove Creek here. Charts say that it's up to 1.5 meters in there, which would be heaps for us. And if we can get in there, and we would tie lines both sides to the mangroves. Might be a few mosquitoes, but them's the breaks.
Tropical Depression 7 coming down on us. As of 5 o'clock this morning, it was located at 10 degrees, 10.0 north, 42.4 west, with winds of 30 knots. National Hurricane Center is saying it's a little bit better organized today, but it's a small system, so it's likely to be able be subject to different strengths of the winds and everything. So depends on which model you believe. If you look at the GFS model, it's pretty aggressive, going between St. Martin and Martinique. So the other one, the Euro model, has it dissipating completely. So it's just going to be one of those things you're going to have to keep a real close eye on. They have it.
Lots of reef around here we got to watch. And in this rain, it's a bit hard to see it. So we're relocating to a hurricane hole. The most famous hurricane hole here in Grenada is just in this next bay. But everybody's going to go to that and it's going to be full. We can get there now, but we just don't want to be with 100 other boats swinging around. So I found a mangrove creek which looks really good. We'll go anchor right next to it and then explore it with the dinghy today. And this wind and rain has got nothing to do with the hurricane. Just dramatic. It's just hurricane is due in about 4 days, 3 or 4 days. And it may not even build up. It's fairly weak now, it's only 30-40 knots now, but it may be a lot more by the time it gets here. So it's better to get in quickly and get a good parking spot before everyone else does. Nearly out of the slop. And then I have to dive on that propeller to see why it's jammed.
The chart says 10, but it's 2 meters. There's a mooring ball, small ball here, B, on the front. This just there.
Yeah, but that's ideal. Even this corner, if we can get into that corner, would be ideal too. This is emergency.
Oh.
They might be just walking on floating things. I don't know.
Maybe, and they're very light.
To walk on the wind.
Yeah. Oh, he's standing in the somewhere there.
Does seem to be. Yeah, nice and deep. This channel.
They're angry.
So they are walking on the weed.
Yeah.
It's certainly big enough to walk on. That's deep.
Yeah.
High tide will give us another 40 centimeters. See, it's shallow right there. That's the bank. At least you can see it. Here is deep. Oh, it's not so deep. Yeah, it's pretty deep. Deep enough. Shallow. So that would be the end of
The tour. End
this
of
will
the
conclude
tour.
our tour.
Uh-huh.
What's going to happen in a tropical depression or any low pressure system is there's less air pressure on the ocean. Normally there's 1,013 hectopascal or millibar pushing on the ocean. With a tropical storm, it's going to be like 960, 970, or even lower if it's a big one. The ocean rises, so this will come up by at least 1 meter. So all these logs here probably come loose and start floating away. But like, they'll go downstream, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, these logs might start banging on Jupiter, you know. We're going to get weeded in again. And this weed is actually pretty deep. It's at least 30-40 centimeters deep. And that will be a threat to our engines because it'll block up the engine intake, the cooling water. So that's something to consider.
So we're moving on the other bay.
Well, this was okay, but the guy there said it really fills up with boats as well. So we'll go look at the other bay it's a bit bigger, and we already know some friends are going to be in there, so it might be better camaraderie.
Yeah.
So we'll go check it out. This is the bay we're in. I think it's called Port Egmont or something. Anyway, we are in this corner right here, which is a pretty good spot, except open to the east. Well, open to the east-northeast, and we may get exposed to some strong winds funneling through there. No choice, there's no other place in the bay that we can park now because it's full. There was another option which we went to first over here. This Mangrove Creek was what I really wanted to get into, but it was just too shallow and it was full of seaweed and logs. That bay is pretty good too, just by itself. In fact, right, that corner was very good. But if we leave this spot and go and check that spot may already be taken now, you know. So we just have to stay here and prepare the boat, and the anchors and the lines for hurricane force. It's only a small hurricane. It's barely a hurricane at the moment. It's just above a tropical storm, but it's still 50-60 knots. So we still have to prepare the same. And in the next, so that'll be here tomorrow, I think, lunchtime tomorrow. And it could have developed and strengthened by then. If the eye of the storm is exactly where that says, all right, so let's see, at the moment it's northeast, which is directly where we're exposed, so that's 20 knots. We can cope with 20 knots from the northeast, and it's still, well, if this is accurate, it's only 20 knots from the northeast. So if the hurricane was further south, let's try. If the hurricane was here, we would pretend it's coming directly to Grenada. You can see, let's pretend Grenada was here and it's coming directly to Grenada. It's more north, and the stronger winds are completely north. Oh, it says 4-4, but anyway, as the strongest wind, 026, you know, so it's almost north, and we are protected nicely from a north wind. So that would be worst case, I think. Again, just a forecast, but yeah, only 47 knots there. It gets a bit stronger there, look at that. It's 50, just above 50. So I just lashed the prodder up because the whisker stays rub on the bridle. As you can see, the bridle, the anchor bridle will get very taut. I don't want them rubbing through the whisker. So it's time to get the second anchor out. There is my emergency puppy.
It's heavy.
It's actually, for the size, it's really light. This is a Fortress 37. It's the second biggest one you can buy. And what makes these different, it's a Danforth style sand anchor. What makes these different is it's aluminium. It's so light. These are great for soft bottoms, like yours. Like mud, it's ideal. In fact, there's two. The Fortress also has two settings. For mud, soft mud, it has this angle. For sand, you can take it apart, take this rod out, put it in here, And then for sand it only opens this much. Mud, this much. So it's a really good anchor. And that will be going out shortly. Going to be facing into wind. You've got to really keep the mouth of the mainsail closed, because once wind gets inside it's just going to blow up. Really hold it tight. Put the halyards away from the mast, otherwise they're gonna bang, 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 bang.
West at 16 knots. Maximum sustained winds are 35 knots. Gonzalo will move to, get this, due south of us at 10.7 degrees north, 61.4 degrees west. That'll happen about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So it will be due south of us, about 70 to 80 miles south of us. And it's expected to weaken into a tropical depression. Okay, because it's beginning to interact with Trinidad, Grenada, and Venezuela. And that's starting to break it up. So a strong tropical wave, though, follows this. Okay, it's going to approach the Lesser Antilles on Wednesday, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. But that's part of why Gonzalo didn't develop. It's sucking some of the moisture off of it.
So we're tied up to the mangroves now. And now we don't get a hurricane anymore, it's just a storm. But pretty securely, 4 lines on the back, 2 anchors on the front. So I think we'll be pretty So no more hurricane, it's now just a tropical storm, and it's centered over Trinidad, so here's not too bad at all. It's just a little bit windy and a little bit showery, but we had good practice in considering what we needed to do for preparing for hurricanes, so that's all good. In fact, we tried 2 positions. Late yesterday we changed position over here to the mangroves, which is much more protected than where we were, but it's really soft mud up here, and I feel like we've got 2 anchors out on the bow and they just seem to be losing grip all the time. Anyway, it doesn't worry us anymore. We're just chilling, and then tomorrow we'll go to a different bay. But I just took the dinghy to take rubbish to the rubbish bin, and I hit a rock in the shallows, and after that I couldn't go forward gear anymore. Somehow it went in reverse, so I reversed all the way home with nearly burying the transom in the waves, and it was this a shear pin, which is now in 3 pieces. So it's an easy repair, and the shear pin just goes across here through the propeller hub across here. So I think it's aluminium actually, so that it's weak enough to shear. And I don't really have anything. I've only got stainless steel, which is probably too strong. The idea of a shear pin is it breaks before you break mechanical gears inside the gearbox. So I'll keep looking, maybe I'll find something aluminium.